This interview originally aired on May 13th. We had some audio issues at the time, so we've edited them out and we've reposted it here today. Hope you enjoy. I'm Tira Mitchell from engraver.com, and I've been doing a series of interviews with different jewelers that I know to find out more about what they're doing during this crazy time, as well as what they do on a regular basis. And today I'm going to be talking to Joel McFadden and Ian Goodchild from Red Bank, New Jersey. So there they are. Okay.
Hey guys. So how about if I show the studio really quick?
Okay. Well, first of all, what's the name of your store? Where are you located?
We're in Red Bank, New Jersey, which is right next to the Jersey Shore. It's like the main downtown at the Jersey Shore. And usually it's pretty busy. It's a big restaurant town. We're about an hour south of Manhattan, 45 minutes off the ferry. So we have a lot of people that live in the area that work in Manhattan normally. And we have a studio where we do manufacturing, small scale. Right now we've got 2 designers that we're building lines for. One's going really well, one's not, but that's not our fault. The designer can't, designers change their mind all the time. And we do custom work, and we started doing some repairs. Ian's been doing repairs
here and there
just to keep traffic going. And I am teaching classes here. We teach private classes here, and I've been working on online classes, which I film here. So I think the unusual.
And I know we have a slide about you have an upcoming class, I think it is. Yep. That Rob is, I think, working on getting that slide up so that people will know how to get a hold of you and things. How long have you guys worked together at this location?
Well, we've been on this street for 14 years. Since 09.
So 11.
11 years. Okay.
Well, we were across the street before that. I don't know. We started working together in 04.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Ian's father and I were friends. He played bagpipes. I played drums. We both liked shooting antique firearms. And you started studying with me when you were 20? You apprenticed? You took a class?
19. It was 2004, spring up.
So you were 19. And that was in Western Massachusetts. And then we moved to, the economy there was sort of shaky. Our biggest employer we knew was getting ready to close. And my wife's parents were from here. So we moved here, and we invited anybody who wanted to come, and Ian moved down with us. And he's been here ever since. So.
Yep, it's always nice to see both of you when I come over and visit, which is a lot of people that I talk to, I don't really get to see, except maybe at a convention, and you at least I get to see occasionally. So that's a really cool thing.
Well, we're an hour and a half apart, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, it's pretty good. It was good seeing you the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not
all
that
right,
far.
So I guess we'll probably get to your slide when we do the pictures.
Oh,
so
whenever.
Why don't we go mobile and see your store area shop, and you can describe what's going on.
It's pretty small, but if we go outside, we've got. So you can see that usually this parking lot over here is just full. I don't know if you can see that. And then there's, this is the downtown. And then we come in. This is strange looking at the other side of the phone. And then when we come in, we got the shop, and we have like this little entryway where the clients come in and they talk with Jen or whoever. And then the rest of it's shop. So this is either a student bench or where Jen sits and works. She's been actually working recently. And then this is where Ian works, and all the hot work gets done here. I say hi, Ian.
Hi.
And then this is my bench. I don't know what the heck I really do here. Lots of things.
Drink coffee.
Yeah, like I've got, these are actually buckles from the Met that are been reproduced. And then we've got like my mom's guitar and pictures, and then back here is the office where I do my CAD work. This is usually where I sit. So, and then here's our jobs and the safe and polishing machine. We have windows. It's wonderful. We got this huge window up here.
So I know that we have a bunch of pictures of some of the custom stuff you did, but why don't you describe, if you will, for people who may not know what custom is all about, how does that work? When a customer walks by your store or calls you, what kind of a process is it for them to have something made?
The first thing that they do is they meet with Jennifer, and basically she goes through a wish list. I want a diamond, I want a sapphire, I want it high, I want stones on the side. I mean, we've had everything from, like, we're doing one right now that's a pretty big, what is it, 2.5 carat diamond? But it's an inherited diamond. It's an old miner cut. So we're doing sort of a very traditional ring with a little bit of a modern twist to it, because the guy wanted a very traditional ring, but I kept saying, let's, upgrade it, make it a little bit modern. So I think we've got like an unusual shank size. So typically everybody who comes in wants something different, and Jennifer's job is to break the vocabulary barrier, I guess is a great way of describing it. Like, people come in and they say, I want little diamonds on the side. Then you go, how do you want them held in? And they go, oh, I didn't know that was an option. So we'll show them 3 or 4 different ways of holding the diamonds. One of the things that we do, which is really cool, is, and let me go grab one really quick and show you, is that we have books.
All right, so let's assume we're starting from the beginning quickly, okay?
Okay.
I don't know. So
let's talk about, Ian and I working together since he was 19 or 20 years old. How old are you now?
34.
So that's a long time.
A little bit.
We haven't killed each other yet. Come close. There's been times.
It's good though, because you guys have a great collaboration thing going on. And it's always fun when I'm either.
I don't want to be that much of the camera. Well,
you were like half a nose.
We started with Ian did the polishing, because he's really good at that. And then he did all the torch work, because he's actually way better with a torch than I am. And then he took over the setting. And, now mostly I just do the CAD, and he does all the production work, which is great, because I'm getting older and my eyesight's not what it used to be. And, with the CAD, I could just keep getting bigger and bigger monitors. But, it's like I'm setting some 1mm stones right now for our church, and I'll set a dozen, and then I'm like, wow, I couldn't do this all day anymore. So it's even with the microscopes, it's really good that he's doing all that kind of work. So, and he's been really working with the engraving and doing some fantastic stuff. One of the pieces that we sent you, the Greek necklace, every one of those little beads.
God, I forgot.
We didn't really want to do everything in CAD. We wanted it to be a very high-end piece. So we engraved a Greek key pattern on every 5-sided bead, 6-sided bead,
There were five
6-sided beads.
8 beads.
How long did that take you to engrave that?
A week.
So, and people don't, this customer understands. This customer's great. But a lot of people don't understand, just scratch a Greek key design on a bunch of beads. That should be easy, but.
Well, it's easy. It's just a lot.
Yeah. I think you were a little cranky about that one.
No, they were happy. I was happy.
It's a beautiful piece. I think we did, was that 22 karat or 18 karat?
That was 18.
So that came out really nice. I wished we just did one of those pieces a week or 3 of those pieces a month. So
3 pieces where you get to use all of your skills to do something really cool and different. Is that what you
right,
mean?
something really just totally
But-
unique. I mean, this was a necklace that had opals, had these grape leaves. We loved designing it. You talked earlier about the process. The customer wanted something for her daughter's graduation from medical school, and we wanted something that she could wear an opal or a leaf or one of each or a whole Cleopatra necklace. So the piece is adjustable, and we went
Okay.
through a bunch of designs. The customer can afford it, can afford weeks of our time, and it was just an extraordinary piece. I just love doing stuff like that, but you don't get to do that enough.
And you sent a picture of that, right?
Yep, it's the
All right.
necklace.
Let me see if I can get Rob to put that up. It's the necklace one that Joel was talking about right now, which would be cool
There you
too.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so this was opals, you said?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
We hand built, or I should say Ian hand built all the bezels, and we catted the leaves, and we catted the beads that are between each leaf and each opal. So all those pieces are separate. So she can wear it just like one leaf or part of it or all of it. And it all moves. And basically we were trying to do an ancient Greco-Roman type piece. But it took a lot of work. I mean, the CAD work was a little tough. I think that all the engraving and fabrication finishing stuff was pretty cool, but we love doing pieces like that. That's a statement piece. So
Very, very cool.
and
Okay.
they're Australian opals. I can't remember if they're from Cooper Pedy or Lightning Ridge, but they're pretty extraordinary opals. Very blue.
Yeah, I didn't even realize they were opals when I saw the picture when you sent it in.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Well, we did a gem show, and this lady and her husband came to the gem show, and they have 2 children graduating from college, or one medical school, one's
Lawyer, I believe.
law school. So they're not really college, they're advanced degrees. And they wanted to give them something that would be flexible. So we're doing cufflinks for son, and we're doing this, and then I've got several pieces I'm doing for her. I think we got like 5 pieces all together. We did one already for her, which was fairly simple, but she just came back from Paris. So when you hold the ring upside down, the ring looks like the Eiffel Tower. It's kind of cool. So if you put it stone down up on a piece, it looks like the Eiffel Tower. This piece was for the daughter. We looked at some pieces that were in, I guess, the Metropolitan Museum, and that sort of inspired us. It certainly,
a lot of that was the daughter's idea too.
Yeah, the daughter was involved. And so the idea here is if she goes out to a completely formal event, she can wear the entire necklace. Or if she just wants to wear a leaf, she can just wear one of the leaves. Or if she wants to wear an opal, she can just wear one of the opals. Or you can wear all 3 opals or just leaves or whatever. I love flexibility like that. This is one piece of jewelry that can be many pieces of jewelry. That's one of my favorite things.
Very nice. All right. Well,
And
let me set.
How
Go
much
ahead.
bench time do you think we put in that piece?
Bench time.
Any?
I'm going to say at least a solid week.
I mean, the beads with the engraving were a week on their own. The bezels were probably 2 or 3 days. The leaves were actually pretty. They were a day or 2. The leaves were pretty straightforward.
I think that's one of the toughest things for us as custom jewelers to convey to our clients, is that when we really want to do something extraordinary, it's going to take time. You know, when you look historically at jewelers that would take 4 days or 5 days or 6 days to make a ring, you know, and then you compare that to some of the mass produced stuff that gets done, it's really difficult to explain that to some clients, you know.
Okay, well, since we got into the pictures, why don't we throw up another one and you can tell us about, I don't know which one Rob's going to put up here, but.
Oh, these are the dog noses. This is my
Okay.
wife's project, and those are cut out, but they're not polished and cleaned up. So, you know, we run a dog rescue through the store. So the main office for the dog rescue is at the store, and that's sort of the deal that my wife has. She will help clients when they come in, and then she will also manage the rescue through this address. And Ian helps quite a bit with the rescue. And one of the things we decided to do during this time, the interesting thing is everybody wants a dog right now. Everybody's at home and they want a pet. So we actually are in a weird situation where we have more adopters than we can find unwanted dogs. And the focus of the
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a very good thing. The focus of the rescue is when there's a good dog at a shelter that's going to be put down because the shelter's out of room, we'll take the dog and we'll put it in foster and then find it a home. So Jennifer, we did this for a customer some time ago. It's basically the equivalent if the dog walked up to a glass door and left his nose print on the door. Every dog has a different nose print. So we
let me see if I can get Rob to zoom into the, because I'm sure it's pretty small on the for people, but he can zoom in a little bit. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So and then of course these aren't polished, and these are brass. But we do brass ones, we do silver ones, and it's basically we outline the dog's nostrils, and then we engrave the dog name on the back, and it's, you know, just a memorial. And everyone's different, so that's something we've been doing recently.
Okay, let's see the next one. There we go. That's what
they look like. Yeah, and I mean, I would say a third of them are dogs that have passed.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
And do you do more dogs or cats?
We do more dogs. The cat noses we do, but
I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 cat noses. I don't know how many dog noses. A lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's because we're in that community. I think a lot of the people are doing it just to sponsor a small business to help us, which is great. Jennifer's enjoying it. She does most of the cutting, and Ian does the polishing.
And she's been doing the engraving with the flat machine too.
Yeah,
been having good fun with that.
We have an old pantograph engraving machine. She's been doing that. Ian kind of shapes them a little bit. That's the back. On the other side, which we don't have a picture of, we actually shape it a little bit. But you know, it's something to do. It's kind of fun.
Nice.
What else,
okay.
What else have you got there?
Let's see the next slide.
Oh, that's a cool one. This is an antique. The far picture is an antique ring that got stepped on, and it was beyond repair. And the customer wanted to have it basically recreated, but maybe a little bit heavier. And the sapphires were lost for the most part. So that's very typical of the kind of work that we do here.
Okay.
So we take the original, and there's another one that's sort of this is stones that a customer had. There was 2 or 3 different pieces of jewelry, and we did a real cool CAD design and put it together. Kind of modernist, you know.
That one was cool too, because that was the stone. That was the stone's color. There's no like filters or anything. And out of the mounting, it was like obnoxiously blue. It was really nice.
And I'm sorry, what kind of stone is that again?
Sapphire.
Sapphire.
But it was super blue.
Okay. Nice.
And then it's the necklace again.
We talked about that one. How about this one?
This is kind of cool. This is a park ranger from Sandy Hook, and they wanted something unusual, and they had gone through books of antique and estate rings, and they found an antique engagement ring with all the unique cut diamonds. We couldn't, within his budget, we couldn't replicate like the triangles and the corners and stuff. But then we decided to just take the general shape that he wanted and, you know, kind of replicate it all. He's very happy with it. It's a 1920s style ring, done modern with modern stuff.
And all those milgraining are done one at a time too. Beading tool.
I was gonna say that's like a large beading project.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's not bad.
I think when we started getting the velour beading tools, we started doing everything one at a time. You know, we had the end set. You could set that up to go click, click, click. And before that, we always used the rollers, but the rollers never really do a nice crisp job.
Oh, the milgrain rollers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would slip and slide.
They're all right if you're like in the open and there's nothing around what you're milgraining, but you can't get in tight with them.
But how long do you think it took you to milligrain now? A couple hours?
10, 15 minutes.
Oh, that's all?
For the milligraining.
Yeah.
No, that's just very much, you just pop along. And as long as you've got the right size beading tool, sometimes you like shave it down a little bit so it doesn't go wrong between the beads, but it's once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty quickly.
You know, one of the things I find interesting is that so many teachers are not keeping up with modern technology. They're not talking about, you know, they're not keeping up with like the modern chemicals. We still have people using red rouge. I don't know why anybody would use red rouge. It's nasty stuff. Because you've got Picasso blue and
Picasso pink is fantastic as well.
Picasso pink. And it's the same thing with the beading tools. The beading tools from 20, 30 years ago, they didn't last very long. They chipped. You had to sharpen them all the time. And the new beading tools, especially the ones we get from you, from Velour, they last forever, and they're so crisp and clean. And, you know, so we started doing all the milligrain, you know, with those beading tools, and either an inset or a pulse graver was set to one click. So you just put the tool there, you push the button, and click, you got a perfect bead. It takes longer, but man, does it look better. So
Good.
You know, I mean, we look at your bench and you've got this great micro motor back there and microscope.
Oh yeah, it's a mess. I got all these tools and stuff. I was doing some testing this morning.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you know, 25 years ago, there were no microscopes on benches. You know, everybody was still doing all the setting by hand and feel.
Yeah, and I don't know how, because now that I'm getting older and I need my glasses and stuff, I can see with an optivisor, but I'm relying more and more on just optics, which I didn't when I was younger so much, but it's kind of interesting, right? This growing up thing. So
when I learned pave in 1978 from GIA, it was so much about feel and repetition. If you always move a graver a certain way and you run your finger across it, you know, it was really forcing diamonds to do certain things. We used to cut the seats by just shoving the diamond as hard as possible. The other thing is that there was an accepted level of breakage. You were accepted to break 10%, 5% of all the melee you set. You know, we would set them and then go over to a gem scope and go, oh, I broke that one. I'll break that melee out and put a new one in, because you just couldn't see. And, you know, then when I first saw my first Medji, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But, you know, I think the thing that bothers me is I was teaching a lady how to do flush setting the other day, and she's taken 2 other flush setting courses. And the instructors, one was teaching her to snap it in, and she said that it would chip the stone or it would fall out. And I'm like, why would you do that? I told her the new setting burrs are so high quality that you don't need to do that. You can cut a really precise seat, burnish in it, and it's done. And now she's all excited because, you know, she's flush setting everything she can come across.
Everything taken out of her way.
She keeps sending me pictures of things she's flushed that little tiny sapphires all over, which is great. She's doing a great job. But I want to go, why didn't the other two teachers, why did they teach the same way we taught in the 70s? You know?
I don't know. Now you're doing a fair amount of online teaching. I mean, I know we've taught together, and then
right.
we've done lots of demos, all three of us at different shows, and now you're moving into what online teaching. You can describe a little bit about that, and then I think Rob has
Flyer.
a flyer he'll put up for your upcoming class.
Yes. I have a YouTube channel that's been running a little over a year, and it's fairly successful. I'm almost 3,000 subscribers. I have a couple of videos that have over 15,000 views. And I'm also big in the hobbyist community. I'm an admin on a Facebook page with 28,000 members. And I've been asking those people a lot of questions. And one of the questions that I asked was, you know, what's the one thing you'd like to see? And they want an online apprenticeship. But, you know, the class that's coming out is a 2-hour course on soldering. And it's kind of weird because Ian and I solder without thinking about it. And I've had a couple of private students lately that, you know, how do you teach them to solder? So I've had to break it down step by step. Of course, you know, I write a lot of step-by-step articles for MJSA, and I've got a book I just edited that just came out with a lot of step-by-step. So in the process of teaching the private students, I broke down soldering for jewelry into best practices, step-by-step methodology, and basically we go over all the things about how to be successful, and if you're not successful with the solder, how to figure out what the problem is. For example, there's 3 things that makes a solder in jewelry successful. It has to be clean, it has to be absolutely clean, and fingerprint oil will wreck a solder. Number 2, you have to have a tight fit. And both of those things, a lot of amateurs just sort of take for granted. And, you know, you don't realize that, oh, I touched it there, or there's a bigger gap. So I talk about that. But those things you can see. The third thing is the thermodynamics, or the heating of it. And a lot of people don't really understand that. So basically what we try to do is say, in the class, I focus on make sure you got a tight fit, make sure it's clean. Now let's look at the heating elements. And one of the funniest things I did was when I was 12, my grandparents made me solder paper clips together. They made me make rings out of paper clips because they weren't going to give me any real metal to do it. But in the video, one of the things I do is I solder paper clips into rings. The interesting thing about that, which never had occurred to me in the last 40-something, 50-something years, was that the reason that they gave me the paper clips to solder is you can see how the heat is transferring, because the paper clips glow. When you're soldering a silver ring or a copper ring or a gold ring, you can't see the heat transfer. But when you're doing steel, it glows, and it's really obvious.
And you're not going to melt it.
And you're not going to melt it. So it becomes a very obvious thing. Good point.
Yeah.
How moving the torch flows and stuff like that, and how you need to put the solder on. So we do that. I do a lot of tricks like that in the video. I've got lots of graphics in the video. It's basically if you've never soldered jewelry, here's how to do it. If you have soldered jewelry for years and you've never thought about it from the scientific aspect of it, here's a way to look at it. And then I've got a couple of, like we build a head with the prongs, which is problematic for soldering. It's a challenging task for some people. And then we do a whole ring, which is a development project. So that's going to go on. Then my next class I'll be doing this summer will be basic setting, breaking it down, teaching people how to do it properly. So yeah,
What kind of setting? Bezel setting or
bezel
all setting?
and flush setting. I might touch on prongs a little bit, but I'm trying to make the classes, something you could do and then go practice. I gave you drills to do in the classes, which I'd love for people to go out and do, just become better at it. Yeah, I'm hoping that it does well, and then I'm hoping to eventually develop an online apprenticeship situation, which maybe you could do too, where you would give somebody tasks like, for example, let's make a bracelet out of 1.5 millimeter wire, solder all the links, send me the bracelet, let me see how it looks. And if there's a problem, I can videotape a correction and send it back to you with the video. Or if you're having problems, I can help you figure out how to move through it. Somebody's at our door. So Ian's got to go deal with the door. But so yeah, that's my goal. Maybe it will live longer than I will.
Okay. And that's all going to be, how would somebody get to that? How would they find that? On your
My
YouTube
website,
channel?
Yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Joel McFadden YouTube, or YouTube, just Google Joel McFadden. And then I'm branding all of the online training under mentorjeweler.com.
Okay.
So being the first mentor jeweler in the country, I thought I would use that name.
Okay. And how many of them are there?
3.
3. Okay.
3. Yeah. It's a fairly new thing that MJSA came out with. And about 2.5 years ago, basically, the Council of Custom Jewelers voted me the first mentor jeweler in recognition of all the teaching I had done. Because I teach a lot at shows. I just taught in Tucson. I teach in Atlanta. I usually teach in New York at JA, MJSA. Books and articles have been coming out. So, and I think I realized this fall that I love that more than making jewelry. For me, I mean, it's like Ian's really cool because, when I see him do really great stuff, I remind myself that, I got him started and I taught him a lot of the skills. And sometimes for me, it's more exciting to see a student do something really cool, like the lady with the flush setting. I mean, it really encourages me that I gave her a skill that she loves and she'll have for the rest of her life.
Well, very cool.
I'm sure you understand that.
Yeah, it is always nice to see when you help people. Sometimes even when they just ask you a quick question at a show or something, and you know something that they just haven't run across yet, you can help them, and it is a very satisfying experience. So I like doing that too. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like people to know about your shop or the jewelry, or how to get in touch with you?
I'd love people to go to my YouTube site and watch my videos and just help me build up those numbers. Give me ideas for other videos. Right now, I'm trying to do things like with as few tools as possible. I just recently set a 4-prong solitaire. Oh, here we go. I just set this little 4-prong solitaire, and I only used 2 tools just to prove that you could do it. It's not the best way or the fastest way, but
it's not what you would do if you could do it anyway, but you wanted.
No, but I see a lot of students making the excuse that I can't do that because I don't have all the tools.
It's like primitive technologies, but for making jewelry.
Yeah. And I think people forget that, you look at a lot of this jewelry from the turn of the century, or you go to museums, they didn't have electricity. They didn't have lights. They didn't have all the wonderful power tools that we have now. So, I'm like, it can still be done. It's and it's not a bad way to learn how to do things. How things going with you? What kind of things are you working on?
Oh, I've got a bunch of projects here. My next one is actually car parts. I have restoration car parts to do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. It's a big thing, and I can't do it really at this bench. I have a separate bench where I have a bigger vise and everything because the car parts won't spin here, but that's the next thing. And I'm doing a lot of stuff, but not necessarily so much at the bench this week anyway. But
that's cool.
It's all good. It's all good. Yep. All right. Well, if you want to get in touch with Joel or Ian, he's given you that information. I am Tira@engraver.com, Tira.Mitchell on Instagram, and Tira Mitchell YouTube channel as well. I'm sorry again about any audio problems that we might have had. We'll try to get that fixed. And hopefully you guys, we can do another one of these maybe in a couple weeks, and we'll get the audio all fixed up. But
sure. Yeah, figure something out. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for your patience.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Later.